Father's brought a beautiful balance into Mike's life. He's always been a very thoughtful and loving husband, but it was the encouragement and the accountability of fathers that helped him to carve out that quality one-on-one time with the children and that daily one-on-one time with the Lord.
In 1987, I joined the Fathers Ministry looking for a male Christian fellowship. Little did I know I had lots of improving to do as far as being a father and husband. Since then, my family has greatly benefited from this ministry.
The Fathers Ministry has been an encouragement to my husband to make spending time with both myself and our 2 children a priority in his schedule. I'm convinced that at the end of his days, my husband is going to look back on this time with no regrets. He won't be wishing he'd spent more time with us. He's doing that right now.
In our household, it used to be that when I got sick, Jackie would make my tea. And when Jackie got sick, Jackie would make tea for herself. But since the Fathers Ministry, Jackie still makes my tea, but I make Jackie's tea when she gets sick.
When my dad was growing up, he didn't have a dad. And then when he became a father, he did the best job that he could do. When I became a father, I wanted to do a better job. And I knew I was going to need help, so I joined the Fathers Ministry. And after 6 years of being in the Fathers Ministry, I can honestly say it was one of the wisest decisions that I ever made.
Undoubtedly, in our 21 years of marriage, the greatest gift that Don has ever given me is his encouragement and enthusiasm in being involved in the Fathers Ministry.
Fathers Ministry was a life-changing experience for me, and it was a wife-changing experience. It changed both of our relationships with each other, with our children, and most of all with the Lord.
The special thing that my husband's given to me, being part of the Fathers Ministry, is that he really gives me time away. Being the mother of 5 sons, 6 years and under, I really look forward to that time, dinner with my sister or a friend, or shopping alone. It gives me a way to get re-energized and relax.
My daughter was 12 years old when I started with the Fathers Ministry. She's 25 now with 2 children and a husband of her own. The principles and the skills I learned at that time I still see in her house as well as my house, with her husband as well as with my grandchildren.
My dad spends a lot of time with me. This year, he was my schoolroom mother.
My dad was in the Fathers Ministry, and he coached my baseball team for 5 years. But now I'm better than him, but he still tosses with me a lot.
Ever since my dad started Fathers, he made playing with me a priority.
15 years ago, my husband made a commitment to spend quality and quantity time with each one of our children. He has scheduled Saturday mornings to take them to breakfast or to an activity of their choosing. And here are a few of their favorite things.
My favorite thing is having breakfast at Perkins with my dad.
My dad's in the Fathers Ministry, and I like to play Frisbee golf with him.
My favorite time with Dad was going on a bike ride getting going to candy.
My first and only dates have been dates with my dad and having heart-to-heart talks with him on Saturday morning during breakfast.
I like it when my dad wrestles with me. I like the times when me and my dad have club times together because we get to spend time alone.
The Fathers Ministry has made my dad a better Christian, a better father, and more fun.
Because of Fathers, our dad prays with us every night before we go to bed.
Since my father has been in the Fathers Ministry, he has learned to be my best friend, and he has answered all my questions.
I'm glad that my dad's in Fathers because he plays basketball with me and we have good times together.
The Fathers Ministry has taught my dad wild hugs like the race car hug or the washing machine hug. And now that I'm too old to do that kind of stuff, he takes me out on dates and I choose a restaurant and we go to it. And if you asked me, I would say that the Fathers Ministry is really worth it.
Read me a story, Dad.
I'm a Cincinnati police supervisor for the last 8 years, every Friday morning, just before stopping at the local donut shop. I've been meeting with the Fathers Ministry at College Hill Presbyterian Church. Part of that ministry is a small group, and through the small group I've developed probably the best male friends I've ever had in my life.
The goals that I've set in the Fathers Ministry and the accountability of my small group has helped me in many, many ways, especially in my relationship with the Lord. Even when I've fallen short of my goals, the Fathers Ministry has always served as a constant reminder of God's plan for me and for my family.
I was in the Fathers Ministry for 10 years when my children were young. And the greatest thing I remember, the greatest blessing, was the chance to share deep concerns, problems, and decisions I had to make with other men, things I didn't normally talk about, and to have the benefit of their prayers and experience and help in making decisions was the greatest thing for me.
When our son was growing up, we had some very difficult times. I looked forward to Fathers each week as a safe place where I could share problems openly and receive prayer and moral support from other men. It was comforting to know that others were struggling with similar problems, and it was good to know that I wasn't alone.
Meeting with the guys in the Fathers team is like a weekly injection of good sense on fathering, on being a good husband, and it's really affected me in my growth as a man.
I've been in Fathers for 8 years, and it's been a tremendous help to my marriage and my relationship with my children. Because weekly, I meet with 3 other men who pray for me and support me and are friends to me and I for them.
You need to really consider joining the Fathers Ministry and making a difference in your family.
How many weeks does it take for a husband to change a light bulb? Before Fathers, it could take many. But since Fathers, it takes just one because my husband puts it on his accountability sheet. He's really seen the light.
Our family has been greatly blessed through the encouragement and the accountability and the friendships, the great friendships formed through the Fathers Ministry.
In 1981, I began the Fathers Ministry with 27 men. We were eager to put our good intentions into action. In fact, we were really tired of going to conferences that gave us great inspiration, but which soon dissipated when we returned home. Because of our inconsistencies in keeping promises, at that time we could have formed promise breakers and probably had a greater following than Promise Keepers is having. Inspiration without application is useless. But inspiration with application is success. The bottom line is the Fathers Ministry is successful. We have been turning promise makers into promise keepers since 1981. I encourage you to begin a Fathers Ministry in your church. Your wives and your children will be thankful you did.